You gotta touch the
Put your
turntable.
hat down. Put your hat down.
You gotta test the turntables. uh, uh, uh. Barber College success. Hold up.
Hmm.
Hashtag earn the crown. We switching it
There
up
it is.
today. Hashtag earn the crown featuring Barber College success. We switching it up because we're in demand. Spreading the love the JC way. The only way we know how to do it is the Crown Quest way. Let's spread the love. Feed Spot, putting us in the top 25 podcasts in the world. Thank you again for that shout out and that love. But today, we're going to talk about this major topic. We got ways, again, to earn that crown. We got some boss guests on this podcast, and we're going to talk about maximizing your time while you're in school. And you know what? Maximizing your time while you're in school is something that you can spread throughout your life, anything you aspire to do. My co-host,
Am
one
I?
time for your mind.
Am I your barber? It's written, Craig. I'm meant to be here because there's so much stuff going on, and I don't know how it happened. It's supposed to happen.
It's supposed to happen. That's what I'm talking about. It's supposed to happen. But a lot of people out there listen to our podcast and get so much from it. So we have to bring some heavy hitters. And we brought one of the heaviest hitters on the show. Introduce yourself.
I'll go first. I'm Ryan White. Second, maybe third time on here, I think.
It's number three. Number
three. My Instagram is at the Common People Barber. Glad to be here.
Thanks, man. My name's Chris McCormick. First podcast. Feeling excited about it. Instagram is currently at ChrisMCC10. Working on a barber name. We'll get to it. Happy to be here, man.
But first off, I want to give a big shout out to my guy, Mr. Ryan, the Common Barber, for being the top-notch picture of the day, haircut of the day. And, listeners out there, this guy right here, he took a picture. He made it world famous. And he took that blue pill. Is it blue or red pill?
I think it was the red one.
Took the red pill.
Yeah.
Took the red pill.
No,
he made that
this man
picture world
left. No,
famous.
he left.
So before we even jump into this podcast, Ryan, talk about this American Crew thing that you just got bigged up in.
Every year, American Crew through Behind the Chair does a competition for licensed barbers, and you submit a couple different angles of a haircut that you did in black and white, kind of according to a set of rules. And it's a global competition, and they've done it since, I want to say 2013, 2014, something like that. So this year is the first year that they had a student competition. And fittingly so for the podcast today, I was trying to maximize my time in school and get my name out there. So I entered the competition. Didn't know what to expect, but over 1,000 entries from 42 different countries.
Around the world.
Luckily, they thought mine was the best. So
That's amazing.
I'm appreciate it. I'm really just enjoying the marketing off of it, and not so much the award itself, but just what it can do for me moving forward. So my world's actually been really crazy for the past few weeks, and yeah.
Did you tell anybody you were gonna do it? Was it just something that she was like, I'm gonna do it?
I don't tell a lot of people when I do stuff like that. I feel like I don't know. I kind of just keep that in the house. I don't know. I just kind of move in.
I was surprised when I saw it, but
know?
at the same time, not at all.
It was like
what rapper said
like, that's
that? Bad
perfect.
boys
Wayne.
moving silence. And
I was getting ready
violence.
to say it. Wayne said real G's moving sound like lasagna. Yeah.
I think Shabba Ranks might have said that too.
Oh, okay. Who's that?
Shabba Ranks, you know Shabba Ranks?
No.
You know Shabba Ranks. Shabba
No.
Ranks is a reggae artist.
Oh,
He's dope.
so he took it from him.
He might have.
Okay.
Shabba Ranks.
We
Shout
gonna
out.
get into that trademark and stuff.
But today we're gonna talk about maximizing your time in school, and I feel this topic is something that barbers, cosmetologists, nail techs, esthetician, anyone under the cosmetology field need to understand how to maximize their time, how to get the best out of school. Because I think a lot of students think that once you go to school, you just sit there and the instructor just supposed to feed you information and you take it and then that's it. You you go outside, you go home, you stop learning. Don't do no research, don't do nothing. And that doesn't apply. You have almost 9-10 months to up to a year Nail tech's probably 6-7 months. Aesthetics 6-7 months. So you need to learn how to maximize your time while you're in school. So, and it's funny, right? Because my co-host, he sent me a question last week.
But yeah, I was yeah. I was like, I look to Craig for some advice most of the time. Usually, I try to gather all the information I can before I make a decision. And I tell you what, Craig's voice is loud. So, anyways, I asked him if how do I maximize my time as a barber, because it seems like I'm doing so much and it's getting like yourself. Like I can only imagine because I don't know what you're doing with, but I'm sure it's crazy. But trying to squeeze every minute and second out of the day to maximize, either make money or make myself better. And I'll say this is one funny thing about Ryan. I think I was on the phone with him one time, and I think it was like 11:30 or something at night, and I was laying in bed or something, and then Ryan. He's like, all right, it was good talking to you, man. I'm getting ready to get on this treadmill. I said, Ryan, it's like 11:30. Ryan, why are you getting on the treadmill? You need to go to bed. So that's how I noticed. So just by knowing that, I know this man's been working hard.
Hey,
just from what I know about him.
That's that title. I refuse to lose.
Man, I don't know what that is. 11:30.
Simple.
Yeah.
So Chris, when you hear
Yes.
that, maximize your time, what comes to your mind?
I put it a lot of myself. It's a personal thing. How are you going to do it? It's easy to look around a room and wait for that instructor to give you some advice on what to be doing. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to how do you learn?
Right.
How do you like to learn? What makes you learn? There's got to be a drive. Everybody has to have a drive. If there's no drive, there's no point in maximizing anything.
Right. That's key.
I appreciate every moment at school, but I don't want to speak hypocritical at all. And I'm known to sit and look around the room a little bit, but I think it's so important, especially as a new barber student, those first 200 hours necessarily that you might not be cutting, watching everything you can. I think I did at least a B+ job on that. Could I have done better? Yeah, of course.
Excellent question.
But by what rate? But what standard? How are you ranking yourself?
My own
Well, that's good. That's the only standard you should have.
I know I'm not perfect, and I'll never be, but I can always do better.
And again, shout out to Market Street Media. Lathan does a wonderful job, and this is live on Facebook. Check us out. If you have any questions, send us some questions, and Lathan will be able to put them on the board, and we'll get to you as quick as possible. So back to the lecture at hand. Ryan, what do you think? When you hear that, maximize your time, what goes to your mind?
I look at it like, I think it can be summed up that idle time is the enemy. Idle time is the enemy, because no matter what you're doing in school, there's always going to be a little bit of downtime here and there. And it's more or less, what do you choose to do at that time? And that time may be spent differently for everybody, but whatever step you need to take, whatever area you need to get better in, whether it's picking up a mannequin and working on it, whether it's watching another haircut, whether it's reading a book about entrepreneurship, whatever it is, I think that's what I've tried to eliminate, is any idle time that I have, because my time is so valuable.
So true story, right? Last week we were sitting in there and Ryan had this book, and I said, Ryan, I got something for you. And I know Ryan was like, what you got for me now? So I went to the car and I brought a stack of like 10 books that I got in my car. I know Ryan was like, Craig, come on, man. What you thinking about, Ryan, when you seen those books?
I mean, I just know our mind works a lot alike.
Right.
So you had some sort of end goal or game plan in mind. I just didn't know what to think. Yeah.
So, but when I think of maximizing your time, one thing I think that you have to do is you have to have energy to maximize your time. So 2 critical things I think should jump off before we start trying to think of any effective plan for ourselves. We have to have energy, and energy is nutrition, proper diet, and exercise. What do you guys think? You have to make time for that. What do you guys think?
I think you got it. We got my
Please go ahead.
You got to. I mean, if you're not eating right and sleeping right, then your body's not going to function right, which means you're going to take that. You're going to hit that extra 10-minute snooze on you when you go to wake up in the morning, or it's not going to all line up. You're not going to maximize, get the most out of yourself first, and then you can get the most out of your time. But that's what comes to mind to me, trying to get everything right.
I know if I feel right, I'm just a better person all around.
Word.
Right.
There's the bottom line. If I can somehow manage that great dad night's sleep, that's 7 hours. If I can fit that in and everything goes according to plan, it doesn't happen. But if it does, I can do it that next day. I want to do more. I want to be the best version of myself. Things are going on. That's when you got to push through to really maximize this. It's the times when it's not easy that you have to focus on.
And I know at times it's easier said than done. Nutrition, proper rest, exercise. It's easier said than done because I think most people struggle with that. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, I think it really just boils down to how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right.
I mean, to me, I can't not work out or eat healthy if I expect to be the best barber I can be.
And that's
I
number
just
one.
don't. I don't know. I mean, it's just it should bleed into every aspect of your life, not just that, but all of it. Like the way I look at it is like, how are you going to ask for more opportunities as a barber if you can't even take care of yourself?
Right.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you're not taking care of the opportunity you already have, so.
100% agree.
I mean, and so we got down the nutrition and the exercise part. Whatever way you can find a nutritional value or proper rest or exercise, find someone or get help. That's the key. There's people out there who will help you. For me, what I do, I meal prep. I
Same.
meal prep, and that takes a lot of the guessing away. It helps me just go straight to what I need to do.
Yeah, move your focus onto something else.
Yes.
It's gone.
And I try to exercise in the morning, early as possible, because I know if I do that early in the morning as possible.
Get it over with. Got the rest of your day.
But the key thing about waking up early and exercise, what it does, it helps you go to sleep earlier and you sleep longer.
Yeah.
I think that helps me. I don't know if it helps anybody else, but the earlier I work out, and I work out every morning, I can sleep better and I can go to bed at an appropriate time. I don't have no time. I lay my head on the pillow, I'm out.
Well, that's like for me working out, like maximizing your time. I have a little like hour window in between, like getting up early and going to work out, and then I know if I sit down in that hour, I'm not getting back up until that's time to go. So I need like maximizing, trying to get that extra hour out, find something to do.
It's all about momentum for me
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah, just I mean, you gotta go.
So so let's get so right here we're gonna give some people some honest some feedback. What has helped us? Because I think, like, for instance, for the cosmetology barbering program, it typically takes about a year. You're looking at about 12 months. And nail techs, aesthetics, makeup, massage, it's less time. Typically about 5, 6 months, 7 months, you should be finished. Most students come into the industry, come into the school, expect to be a boss in the first month. That's impossible. Because the first month you're in school, you're really just confused.
It's a lot to take in at first. I mean, I in the first few months of the school, like I think, first of all, I think everybody is a little like if you're a barber, you're a little disappointed because you come into barber school like I'm gonna learn how to fade the first day,
Yeah.
and then they're like, hey, why don't you roll this perm? You know what I'm saying? Or wash this mannequin head.
Right.
Get that broom.
Yeah.
And those things are work on sanitation. Those things are important to jump into for you to understand that it's a building block to get where you need to be. So to maximize your time, you don't need to put no extra pressure on yourself either.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you put pressure on yourself, it creates some type of anxiety and insecurity that exudes out, that people can see in you, and it sets you back. What do you think, Ryan?
I guess the thing that I think about when I'm starting out is the fact that you like being the enemy, idle time being the enemy. I wrote down quite a few thoughts that I had. I always try to organize my thoughts before I come on here because I think about this all week long whenever you get to the topic.
You don't give me no topics. So
But
Here we go.
I wrote down several things, so I'll give you the first couple things I was
Right.
thinking
Go
about.
ahead.
So one of the things what I did when I first started out with barber school to learn about things that were outside of cutting hair were about how to style hair and about products
Mhm.
and about things that were completely within my control of, it ain't the learning curve for a fade is a long time, like you said.
Mhm.
The learning curve for putting matte paste in somebody's hair is,
Even longer.
you know,
I think styling is.
well, I mean, at least just understanding the concepts of what goes with what hair and
Right,
stuff
it's
like
not
that.
quite
You
as
could study
in-depth.
that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I reached out to every company that I cared about or followed. And I just said something along the lines of like, hey, I'm a barber student. You know, would you guys be interested in allowing me to sample some of your products to use on potential clients and then post about that as far as my social media.
Mhm.
And that was one way that kind of got my foot in the door about stuff like that. I mean, you could probably talk about that all day.
That's
but
earning the crown
that's
right
something
there. That's a
small.
gem right there. That's not no Ryan. That is not something small. that is a big gem right there for anyone who's listening. Before you even start school, or even while you're in school, check out some companies that you like and hit them up for some samples.
You just have such an advantage as a student that people don't even realize, because people look to help you. They want to help you. That's the whole reason this podcast.
Yeah,
Everybody
wanna
wants to
help
get
somebody.
back.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Had great success from our assignment Friday.
Wow.
Uh,
Already?
three companies have responded, and our one has already shipped some samples to the school. So
Wow.
I'm not gonna. I want everybody to be able to get their hands on them, because it's just something that.
So talk about the assignment, because we had an activity to maximize our time, and talk about that assignment.
Well, it was past Friday, right?
Yes, it was a what?
It was each one teach one.
Yep. What is each
That's
one?
another
teach
one.
And
Another
each one
one.
teach one is basically discussing a topic that you either feel confident in your knowledge about, something you have, prior success in.
Just to teach?
Just to get up there and get it out on the table.
And that's what we do at Crown Crest Academy. We have students, people come in, myself. I'll do it. Each one is typically on Fridays, and we'll just talk about different things to give knowledge, to help you advance, to help you grow.
Change up.
There's gym after gym.
Hey,
Yeah.
earning the crown. That's why we earn the crown.
Yeah.
So more about that. A couple of brands have reached out and already sent some things. And they're also excited about potentially, if it works out with the schedule of the school, potentially doing some Zoom calls and teaching us about when to use it, how to use it. Can we send a representative? They're so willing, and that's why I'm going to hold on to these companies' information as much as I can. If they're willing to help like that, just off a simple, and back to the assignment. The assignment was simply to reach out to companies and maybe try to get your foot in the door on some samples, or just learn about their products.
And you know what's funny? So we talking about maximizing your time. So I specifically checked out everyone, and this one person was playing bedazzles. He was playing. So that's not maximizing your time. And he didn't understand the student didn't understand the importance of this exercise, because it's showing you, like Ryan, you just alluded to, you have an advantage when you're a student. So typically you're in school for about 7 hours a day, 6 to 7 hours a day, and 11 months, 12 months out the year. You can maximize every time when there shouldn't be no dead time. So go ahead. Sorry,
that's a perfect point. It's like building your empire while you're in school. If you can start now, why not start now?
And that speaks
you
to
get a head start.
But to speak to the point with the brands, I mean, these people, they know who's going to sell this product.
Yep.
They know that the barber, the people in the shop, are the ones selling the product.
And I feel like the way I was able to present the message through that email to them with just genuineness and thankfulness, if whatever you can do, and correct grammar and spelling.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this individual may be able to speak to our product just as professional as somebody out there on the streets doing.
Exactly. So you're selling yourself at the same time too.
Absolutely.
And then if you can get to where you match your skills with the ability to market, then you become every door is
image.
Open. Because at that point you can be used for their advertising, you can be used for their spokesperson, their ambassador, their representative, their educator at some point, whatever, right? And that's my goal, is where I can get done, and it's just turnkey, because I put all the work in the 1,500 hours before. I'm not after school going, oh, let me reach out to these companies real quick. Oh,
how do I learn how to do this?
How do I do this? How do I do that? Let me sling all this together.
You don't become a professional at what you're doing.
And that comes back to maximizing and being the best you, because you want to make yourself as marketable as possible. And sometimes first impressions are important, and the physical is sometimes as important as the product that you're selling. So I mean, maximizing your time in that way, where we talk about going to the gym and trying to be as best you can be.
And I feel, not just feel, but from experience, owning a shop and in the shop, when you're in the shop, you don't have time to sit down with a group of people to brainstorm.
No.
Yeah.
And this is probably the best time to do it. Use your time wisely in school. You can grab 4 or 5 students together and come up with a topic, come up with a game, come up with a project for you guys to do while you're in school. Because when you're in the work field, you're not gonna. There's not too many barbers who you're gonna work with and be like, hey man, let's get together. They're like, man, I got time for this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they don't think they want it to be tangible in their hands before they will use it, will grab it, or follow through with it.
Yeah.
So once you kind of having something like kind of in a cloud, where you're trying to reach out to a company and don't know if they're going to reach out yet, you're like, man, I don't want to take that chance. But when you're in school, why not?
I got chills. Man. I
Even
got those emails. I was so happy.
even like when you out of school, you should still do those things. But those things that we kind of underestimate, we slide under the rug.
I tell the students at in Bristol, I'm like, submerge yourself in this industry. Like when you pull your phone up and you scroll through Instagram, you're seeing barbers and haircuts and ideas and product and stuff like that. And you're subconsciously filling your mind with different ideas. So when something pops up and you look at it and you see, oh wait, I can do this with that. I could put that together. Everybody is capable of that because everybody comes from different places. And I know I've seen you've been putting some work in on Instagram, man.
I'm trying. I appreciate it. My photos are terrible. I'm ashamed.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
They are.
Don't say that because I started with the blurry camera, then the ring light, then the.
But
I'm doing it.
But listen to what you're doing, right? You putting pressure on yourself to be an expert.
That's true.
You putting pressure on yourself that you have the best picture.
Right.
Everybody who have a phone can take a good picture. You don't have to be an expert.
I mean, honestly, that was one of the things. There were two things from winning this competition that I talked about that I was really proud of, and neither one of them really had a lot to do with me. Number one was when you see that Canada, Spain, Germany, all these countries that won, and then it was like Johnson City. But the thing is there's so many talented people around here, and so many, like, it's so underrated, and you can have so much success right here.
Somebody in Germany Googled that right when they saw it.
Exactly.
But I tell people that all the time. There's so much great things going on in East Tennessee and Johnson City, Tennessee. For one, the podcast. I wouldn't even imagine seeing the podcast have over 40 countries as well.
Oh, absolutely.
And now we're in the top 25. Shout out to FeedSpot again on the web globally. So that shows you have to start.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I was going to say is to hit on your earlier point. As a student, everybody else in that competition, I don't know if they could tell. Maybe you can tell. I don't know. But I took my picture with the iPhone 12. Everybody else had a photo shoot with some thousand,
that portrait mode.
I don't use portrait. I didn't use portrait mode.
That's what I use, man. I'm still growing.
I'll put you up on some game,
exactly. Yeah, there we go, Ron. Help me up.
But I didn't know about it before I came into it, though. But this is just another example of something I paid attention to, and I was like, it doesn't matter how good my haircut is. If I can't take a picture of it, then nobody's going to know on social media. Future clients, potential people, that I can cut hair if I can't take a picture of it. So I watched a lot of like Andrew Does Hair and a lot of like those type of things, and messed around with lighting, messed around with this and that. And I am still nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm to the point now where when I take a picture of my haircut, I'm like, that accurately reflects what I saw in the mirror. And so that's just part of it. That's another thing to do in school. Like, that's what I do, And
you take enough pictures, there's bound to be one picture that's going to come out like an expert.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not an expert, and people ask me all the time, who's taking those pictures in the school? I'm like, I take them, I send them to the market, and she put them up. I mean, and some of the pictures come out good. Some are like whatever, but you will catch something as a student if you just take pictures at different angles. Get to know your camera. Get to know your phone.
I came out the shop last day at work Saturday. I came out and it was Friday. I was the last day. I was the last one out. I came out late, and this dude parked beside me. There was nobody else in the parking lot, and he had a camera. I said, "What's up, man? What are you doing?" And then he's like, "Oh, there's a train coming from a coal field. I'm gonna take a picture of it." I'm like, "Word?" I said, "Where are you from?" He told me he's from like 45 minutes away. I said, "You drove all the way down here to take a picture?" And I said, do you work for a company? He said, "No." I said, "You get paid?" He said, "No." And I was like, "That's crazy." So I showed him my stuff, but that man was so invested in becoming a better photographer and capturing a picture that he drove 45 minutes away, made no money, but just wanted to capture a picture of a coal train. It was amazing. And he tagged me on Instagram, which was really cool.
That's maximizing your time.
I mean, but you think about, like, to some people that sounds crazy. Like if he was telling his friends, "All right, dude, I'm about to go take this picture of a train 45 minutes away." Some people would think he was crazy, but he's not worried about what other people are thinking. He's focusing on the goal and earn his crown and maximizing his potential.
Right. That's key. Chris, I see your mind going like a million miles.
Sorry.
It's constantly going. I think about the guy taking the photo, and he had to have taken some terrible photos like I'm taking right now at some point.
But it's not
So,
terrible.
Well,
I disagree with that.
By whose standard?
Yeah.
It's always my standard. It's I want to do the best I can, and it's because I can do it. Thank goodness I have Craig in my life to tell me.
That's part of the problem.
That's part of the problem.
The right way to do it. But
The quick part
it's
is
tough to revert back from something as far as just a characteristic of yourself. It's just it's part of who I am.
But never lose that drive. What's the quote, Craig? What's the Jay-Z?
Oh, make your first like your last, make your last like your first, and make that your everything.
That's
And
the first time he said that smoothly.
It-
I've heard every
He
podcast.
said-
Every time it's
But I
like
put him on the
trying to get
spot
through
though.
that.
He was on the spot.
one week he's like, the first shall be last, and the
Yeah,
last
hold
shall
on,
be
hold on,
first.
But if you continue to feel like you feel and keep the same energy that you have now, then anything is possible because you're always continually wanting to get better.
I appreciate it. Definitely 100%. It's just part of who I am. I want to do it now.
Well, when you're in school and you're training, and no matter what you're doing, there's no such thing as failure when you're trying to do something. I don't think that.
No.
You're preparing to be a basketball player. You miss a shot. You didn't fail. You missed a shot. You know what I mean? That's part of life.
The Thomas Edison quote where he said when they asked him, he said it took 900. They said you failed 999 times. You know it. I know
No,
you
you don't
know
take the shot.
I don't know. I'm not a cliche guy.
Okay, well, anyways, he
But I
said
know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
he said, no, I didn't fail 999 times. I just found out 999 ways how to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and in school, that's one of the mistakes students do. They put pressure, and we talk about it, Chris. You put pressure on yourself, and that pressure on yourself, it almost like it's an enabler, because one way how it enables you, you comparing yourself constantly to people around you, and you don't know how hard they're working behind the scene, because you just think they're putting out the same amount of energy and maximize the same amount of time that you're maximizing, and that's false, because some people 11:30 at night they're ready to hit the treadmill.
I mean, that was the time that I had carved out for the day, man. I mean,
So-
I wasn't going to bed until I got it done.
No,
He said, I'm going to
Yeah,
bed
you know what I mean?
afterwards.
So I said to say this: we never know who is out there unless you are working, and you know for sure that you are working someone or working your pace. You putting an extra drive and research. It's okay. You're gonna get it. Everybody's gonna get it. Once you're around some good people, some good barbers, a good group of people like we have at Crown Cuts Academy, you're gonna get it, because other barbers are not gonna let you down. If you ask a question to people who are passionate about this industry, they don't mind helping you.
That's correct.
They don't mind helping you if you go up there and sit with them and listen to them and watch them. We wasn't Ryan. Every time I do this one haircut, Ryan will be like, "Hey, fellas, y'all need to start watching this haircut. It might never happen again. It might never happen. Maximize your time." Because and Ryan's like, "Craig, I'm cutting hair. I'm watching you." I'm like, "Man, Ryan, how you doing that?"
I was. It's true. I mean, every right to be every right to be a fan of that haircut. It's I've seen it twice now. That was the second time that, and I didn't pay attention as much the first time. I just remember being blown away. I was blown away. I was like,
The thing is, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's that haircut or whatever.
yeah.
You're never going to get that opportunity again. And the thing is like when you have that opportunity, that's why I always try to take it, because you don't know if it's going to come back around again. And I don't mean when you have a choice to make
Mullet.
something. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? This dude rakes like an 8 and a 7, then a 6 and a 5 on like hair that's 3 inches long.
I
on
ain't seen. I
top.
heard about it.
And it
I've
looks-
heard about it.
it's the
It's the
finest-
wildest
the
thing
We need a
ever.
finest.
tutorial.
Fine
You need a
hair, too. It's
YouTube
tough.
tutorial with the
I mean,
braid.
Nobody does it like
Nobody
this.
could-
Nobody.
Nobody.
And one
I'm
of the
just
rea-
saying,
and one of the reasons I was kind of forced to learn how to do it that way, because I didn't get too much practice with my shears as a young barber, so I perfected how to cut long hair
With guards.
with guards.
And it looks like the same that you or I would do it.
if not
Like,
better. I mean,
if
it's
not better, yeah.
it's
Actually,
So,
probably better.
That's the thing about this. Like, I think a lot of barbers, I've seen a lot of good barbers, and I can say this because I've seen it, limit themselves on their potential because they're too proud to ask somebody how they did something.
Mhm.
And that happens a lot. And I see it a lot.
Well, how people don't maximize their time when they're in the school is sitting around constantly on their phone, hiding avoiding haircuts, don't want to participate in activities in the classroom. When there's opportunity to learn and grow, like the activity we did last week, you're doing bedazzle on your phone.
That's one thing that I really take.
I mean, for real, it was. I heard ping.
It was
33.
I was like, okay. Go ahead, Chris.
Very early in the process, though, like that's such an important time to just watch, just Hawkeye everybody. I know I used to bother Ish so bad. I would literally just post up against his station, not realizing that he needed to reach things around me, and I was just in the way. But I didn't know. But
Who ate that pizza? That's another topic.
Nah, man, I watched it in front of my eyes, and I'm not gonna say a word.
It was just funny. Let's get back on track. I'm sorry.
Oh, that pizza. We're having a pizza party on Tuesday, by the way. I'll buy. But those first couple 200 hours are just any time really that you're not cutting. But I really took advantage of watching everybody and asking as many questions to the point where I'd get that look like, anything else? And I was like, well, keep going. I might have something for you. But
Chris, pass me my shears, please.
you're literally in front of my mirror too. But that's
because a lot of students think they're not learning because it gets so stagnant and they want it to happen right now. You have to kind of put some succession together to learn. If there's no succession, if there's no
it's
momentum, you're not learning. So you just can't stop and say, I'm not learning if there's no succession of trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And doing something at times is just asking questions, learning, understanding, grasping certain things.
You know, I was one of the lucky folks to be able to get the last test in at the portion of the test that you can take, the written test, at 750. And the real reason I did it was not that I was necessarily like perfectly ready at 750. It was the fact that I knew that I would have a bunch of free time getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
So like this
take
past
something off
week,
your plate so you don't have to stress.
Yeah, but like then when class goes on, I've got 3 hours in the morning to get better on what I think I need to get better on.
It's a great time.
And like this week we got it coming into the school. Like I noticed that a lot of clients and a lot of new students were struggling with seeing or identifying what type of haircuts or how to have a consultation with somebody. So I reached out to like every Crown Cuts graduate that has been through our school and then our current students and created a lookbook of about 80, 85 different haircuts and all ethnicities, all ages, everything. And that's coming in this week. We'll keep it at the front to help with stuff like that. So like that's something I can leave Crown Cuts with after I'm long gone, and hopefully it helps somebody else. You know what I mean?
I remember before I got my license, I came to Crown Cuts when we still ain't told the story yet how me and Craig met, but circumstances happened, and I needed help preparing for my barber's exam because I needed to do an apprenticeship. And that's when I first met you, and I remember that like you stood out to me because I remember I had to come after hours to Miss Roberts to help me finish it while the school was over. And I remember Ryan was the last one to leave and would sweep up, and I'd be sitting out there talking to Craig, and we sit out there because just like the podcast, me and Craig sit here talking for hours. And I remember we was there and Ron's last one to leave. He's sitting there talking with us, and I remember asking Craig, "Yeah, can I get another hour for this?" So he was trying to squeeze more time out. But that stood out to me because I could tell early, just outside looking in and seeing Ron, like last one to leave, like trying to get every little bit out of what he's got there and to maximize his time.
But the thing is, it's nothing special though. That's what's crazy. It's really not like anything I've done you can do. It's not, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna give you an unpopular opinion here. Hard work is really overrated. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because if all 4 of us in this room, all 5 of us in this room work as hard as we possibly can work, it's got to be something else that separates you from somebody else. Everybody can stay an extra hour. Everybody can do that. Now, that's a choice and a lot of people don't. But I'm just saying, what do you have after that? Right? Are you creative? Are you doing these extra things that we're talking about? Are you helping other people? Are you leaving something with your name on it? Are you reading? Are you whatever you're doing, right? What is the next thing you're doing that somebody else isn't?
Well, that's a gem too, because you think about, because I remember Craig one time said to me, he said eventually a fade's a fade. Like they all, it starts to look. I mean, I
Exactly.
remember you telling me that. So, and that's a gem for life, because if you think about, okay, we can all work as hard as we can, but we're all different people. So if you're working 100% as hard as you can, eventually those gifts that you do have are going to start dripping out of you, and that's going to start go the direction that you should go, and then you could be happy with your life.
But to
well
break
said.
that down in simpler terms, like what you said, Ryan, so people could really understand it. 1 million people go to the gym and work as hard as they can.
Mhm.
But what separate the people who get results and the one that don't? And that's what you applying to.
Absolutely.
Nutrition, rest.
Exactly.
But you're still working hard. But why am I not seeing the results? Because there's other things you need to do too to separate yourself.
Right. There's people that spend the same amount of hours at school as me.
Yeah.
But the first thing I will say too, whenever we have a new student come in, you always say, give them one piece of advice. The piece of advice I always give is, if your only learning occurs within these four walls, you're going to be average.
Of course.
Because there's a plateau, there's a limit you're going to hit that you can only be so good in that amount of time.
And we give you a lot. And we give you a lot.
And you
There's so
do.
much
I
to
don't
take
even mean
in.
that in a bad way. I just mean it like,
Yeah,
there's-
that's true.
if that's the only learning you do.
I agree. Because learning is something that has to be reciprocated. And it's not just the instructor giving you instructions and you just taking it in. You have to give feedback. You have to do some research. And you have to add to the instructor too and help him grow. Because the more you help him grow, the more he helps you grow. Because I've learned so much from students in the school. It's unbelievable. I've picked up so many things from students.
I just learned another skill the other day from students, where they, I mean, you do leave the weight on the parietal, and sometimes you had those phrases. I forget which student it was, but they showed me that, I took a guard and raked it down, and
They
it
got
looked
that from him.
Absolutely.
exactly. And
But it's passed on.
but
you
I've
know?
seen that,
Yeah.
and I actually started applying that to my haircuts,
Yeah.
and then cleaned up. So is that you?
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
Trey?
It looks like-
I'm not gonna say
I go
that's
back to it's something I think about all the time in my head, and I think it'll probably never leave me. If there's many things that will never leave me about Craig, but this one especially is that we're all a shade tree
yeah.
for the next individual to either learn from. But we're all out here just providing shade, so that maybe the next person picks it up faster or gets it easier.
Yeah, you planting a seed and watching the tree grow that you'll never get shade from.
Oh yeah,
I've
heard that
That's
quote,
just
yeah.
it's being selfless.
Yeah, that's being
basically.
said, and you have
Exactly.
to. And because this industry, I can't tell you how much this industry. And when I first started, I didn't do it for money. I do it because I loved it and it was passionate for me. And I still tell people I don't have bad days, and they're like, yeah, whatever. I have bad days. I love going to work, and that has opened so many doors because people see that. And now with the Confess Project, what we doing?
We going out there and trying
You
to
know,
give people
I,
help.
I didn't even imagine. And they sent me. They sent me this thing yesterday, and I had to sign some paperwork where they are looking to monetize everything I do. I was like, man, I didn't go into this industry. I was just happy. It was just art. It was a canvas that I love to paint.
And when
It's
that's
hard to
what
hide
it's
that though. It's hard to hide that.
Yeah, and then when that's what it's about, your authenticity helps escape competition.
Right.
Your authenticity helps you escape competition because you were doing it for all the right reasons, with love in your heart, serving other people, trying to do something good for somebody, passionate about the industry, passionate about your artwork, the canvas that you're working on. And ultimately those things end up paying off for you more than chasing the dollar. The dollar will come because of that.
Yeah.
And you almost eliminate your competition because of the opportunities and the doors that are open from being authentic.
I can't even. I mean, it's just. I was like, man, things just opens up.
It was written.
That's what you say. That's your quote. You gotta put that on.
I gotta get the shirt right.
Yeah, it was written.
I do gotta
I
put
mean,
the shirt
but
on.
so we talking about maximizing your time, and there's maximizing your time not just in the morning. Maximizing your time. Another way people escape and kind of shy away is from doing practicals. When it's time to do practicals in the school, everybody should jump on that because those are times to learn. It almost seems like redundant. And I remember I'll go back to like when I was growing up playing sports in high school, middle school, and the coach, and I know he was like, hey, we have to do some fundamentals today. Nobody want to do fundamentals. Everybody just want to do pickup.
Nobody.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
Everybody just want to do pickup, give the ball and just run. And we get the last 5 minutes of practice and we like, man, that's it. But you understand the fundamentals is what makes the time when you're ready to, when the ball's up in there and people watching, makes you be official.
How you practice is how you play.
I had a coach like that. He's one of my favorite coaches I had, and he was a baseball coach.
Awesome.
And we would spend probably 30 minutes of every practice running bases, just running it to perfection. And his idea was if you cut down that half a step, how many times you've seen bang,
play.
bang,
Yeah,
I mean, every
like
time in
ridiculous.
baseball. So just practicing, just no wasted movements, no wasted effort to get that perfect stride so that you got that little bit that sets you apart, that gets you to the score.
And
Gets
from
you
being
around.
like and playing like college baseball, I can tell you too that like 95% of your practice really is built on like defense and hitting and
Mhm.
pitching. Like that's 95% of the practice. Very few teams do that. And the teams that do those little things like that are separators.
Stand
Just
out.
like
Mhm.
what we're talking
Stand
about
out.
here with a haircut. Same thing.
And in life.
Mhm.
And in life.
And in life.
Yep.
And in life. I mean, I should tell people like college was so difficult because the only time you was really happy when it was fun when you was playing. When it was a game day. With practice, we talking about practice.
SBA.
So what are other ways you think to maximize your time, fellas? What are you guys thinking about? Or what other gems, other ways you can have to show people how to earn the crown and maximizing that time?
I mean, play like Ron. He knows something. I've been using portrait mode, so he knows something different. Asking questions to other people, observing people, and learning.
You have to be organized.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote some other things down. One thing I did was I followed an online academy with where I was at in school. And I think one of the common misconceptions is that you can just watch YouTube and learn how to cut hair.
No.
And so what happens is a lot of times you go watch one of these guys that's been cutting for 15, 20 years and they're just butter with it.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, I'm just going to do what he's going to do. It doesn't work like that. So I found one that I do through Barber Josh OP. And it's a year progression, almost the same time that I'm in school. And each week, I just did week 1 while I was in week 1 of school.
Yep.
Week 2 while I was in week 2 of school. You don't have to join an online academy. What I'm trying to tell you is
it helps.
Move at a pace though that is synchronized with where you're at, and don't try to be
Right.
I'm trying to do this burst fade faux hawk, James Harden, blah, 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 and you can't put a transition line in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So not getting ahead of where you're at. I've also really tried to maximize like the free resources that I have in my area. Like no matter where you live, if you're listening to this, there are free resources in your area. So like I got hooked up with the TSBDC, which is Tennessee Small Business Development Center. Free resources.
Right.
Nobody takes advantage of it that I know of around here besides Craig. To be honest. And I didn't even hear about it from Craig, but
I'd
we
really
actually
like to look into that and talk after about.
yeah, man. But basically, like through East Tennessee State University here, they have people that will consult with you on your taxes, your business plan, set everything up for you. I know Craig used that resource whenever he was setting up a school because nobody had a school around here. It was new. So it wasn't like he had a model he could go look at. And what I'm wanting to do when I get done, nobody else is going to be doing in our area. So I don't have anything to compare it to.
Right.
Sure.
Like I can't go to somebody and say, hey, how do you do this? Like, well, I mean, I can show you how to do a fade, man, but that's not the type of business that I run.
Right.
So
Do
I've
some
used that
research.
resource. There's resources in every community like that. That is provided by our state. There's one literally in every region of Tennessee. I don't know about other states, but I know that that's available out there. There's 2 big ones. And then I said another one would be to enter competitions, and not just for the photography, but the fades and flows, the barber battles, whatever you want to call it from wherever you're at. Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't even matter whether you win or lose. Like, it's great, but that's not even the point. And you just gain so much from that.
The rush of it was great too, and it's funny because I was watching one of these big Instagram barbers, and he had to do they did the barber battle, and I remember doing mine. I'll say me first. I was shaking like I don't know how you were, but I was over there shaking like a man. You practiced it like a million times.
I did practice a million times.
So you
but
got that out of you.
My time.
You did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I was shaking like crazy. I was there like the dude I was cutting was like, man, you all right? I'm good.
But that's normal.
Yeah.
Listen, there was an anxious feeling about me still.
Yeah.
But you eliminate a lot of your.
Oh yeah.
But you eliminate a lot of pressure on yourself by preparation.
But I want to say it wasn't just me. I was watching this big time Instagrammer on the barber battle, and they zoomed in on him, and he was shaking too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So it made me feel so relatable to that guy.
But those things kind of help you when that time comes, if you decide to do something at a professional level.
And then it's not the first time you've done
It's
it.
not.
Right.
And so talk about fades and flows, Ryan, and what you got from it, and how do you just talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Fades and Flows is a competition, but more or less a social gathering, a display of student work. Really, is the way I look at it, like almost like an art museum, or you're coming in to view a sculpture or a canvas. But basically, every student in our area is welcome to, but it's mainly our school, where you bring in a model and you have an hour. Craig got the time wrong, gave us 53 and a half minutes. I had that planned out to the second.
Wow.
But anywho, we got it. But anyways, you get a certain amount of time. You've got to do the haircut, and it's judged on several categories. And it just forces you to be efficient with your time. It forces you it brings out your best. It allows you to collaborate with other barbers, go around and see other work, other techniques that somebody used, and then network with people. Like, obviously, like I had met you one time before that, but I think kind of after that, Emma, was when you and I started talking a lot. We're in a fantasy baseball league now together.
Right.
He sends terrible trades, and my team's always hurt.
But it's an opportunity to network.
Excuses are the tools.
Incompetence.
Incompetence.
I'm sending trade right now, Ryan. You're getting a trade right now.
Oh man, that's that. But again, that's something that I wanted to do when I first started the school. I think it was an opportunity just to give students a competitive edge, opportunity to show their work, bring their family and their friends in to see what they do at school, kind of figure out what barber school is. And we've done it like 3 years in a row at Crown Cuts Academy. And through the pandemic, we still did one. And it was a little bit tough because we couldn't invite no one. So I was kind of sad, but we still had it. We kind of did something different with other schools and had a lot of people following it and checking us out. But it's something just for the community to come out and kind of market the students, see where the students are, what they're doing, the good work that we're doing at Crown Cuts Academy. Chris, you get an opportunity to do it. But one of the key things that disappoint me at times is a lot of students back out. But when they graduate, they want to come back and compete with students.
It's a good benchmark. It's an opportunity for a benchmark to see where you are and also reach out. It's a great networking tool. So I'm excited to do it.
You're going to do it right.
Oh, absolutely.
You signed up. First name on
I'll
the
tell you
list.
what, one of the best things that's happened to me in the past month is I used to sit around as soon as the school opened and be like, gosh, what am I up next? Who's up next? Who's up next? Is it me? Oh, what's going to walk through the door? I'm so happy to be able to walk to the door and grab somebody out and just not care what kind of hair is on the top of their head and just go after it either way.
You had to get there first, right?
It. But
That's good,
gosh,
man.
there was so much angst.
But it took some time. What month are you in now?
I started in February.
So you're month 6, 7. And that's what I tell people about around month 6, 7. That's when they start getting comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a competition like Phase and Flow, it's a competition in a sense.
It could be a competition.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with competition.
It's not could be. You should approach it like that.
Yeah,
it's a friendly competition.
There's nothing wrong with
but
that.
It's great to be able to see where you're at, no matter at what point in school you're at.
Right.
You know, it's just where am I? What do I need to focus on now? Where can I go next?
But by your own standard, correct?
we'll get to that.
Ryan told me one day, Craig, you should patent that. I was like,
I mean, you should. Nobody else is doing it.
Look at the Washington football team can't get a name because of Pat. You need to go ahead and scoop you.
Right? But Phase and Flow, it do sounds official. It is nice and something for the community to come out and have some kids come out. One year we had about like 400 to 500 people just came to the school just to watch.
Entertainment as well.
Oh yeah,
food.
Yeah, we have music,
I mean,
live.
I'm
live
gonna
music.
go anyway, so I might as well cut somebody's hair while I'm there.
Yeah.
You know.
One more thing I wrote down because I know we're running out of time. we try to do a challenge at school about once every couple weeks
Yes.
that forces us
Yes.
to
Be creative.
be creative and use different techniques. So like this week it was you get to pick one clipper, one trimmer, you get one comb,
Oh,
no guards,
That's it.
no guards.
no guards.
Okay.
And we do it and I say this respectfully as possible. We do it on key day. We don't necessarily do it with like a return client that we've cut 10 or 12 times just because of the fact that they're used to a standard with you. And if you mess up, you don't,
They're gonna have questions.
right. What happened? You've been great every time you mess my hair up. But if it's a new client or something on community day, it's a great opportunity to try that. So we did this past week. I've got one in mind already for the next time. And I'm not always the one that comes up with it. Somebody else may come up with it.
I mean, you get to a point in your career where you're like, you cut hair every day, you cut the same guy's hair every day, and you're like, I'm gonna do something different. Like I'm gonna cut the same way, but I'm gonna do something different.
Exactly.
But the scary part is that's
yeah.
where in school you have that ability, but
Yeah.
you got there in the real world and you can't.
Yeah.
Well, you still can't. Well,
I mean, you could, but
It's
you
a dangerous game.
they
Yeah.
expect they have a certain, like you said,
That's the
a certain
danger.
standard
And the
they expect.
expectation.
so
Yeah.
come up
Yeah.
with different challenges to maximize your time.
Sure.
And this is something that as a student you can come up and talk to your instructors about. And because instructors and school owners, they are looking for suggestions as well. Because as many suggestions I come up with, I love taking suggestions from the students because that helps. It makes your time in school go by and it makes learning fun. So those things I think are important. Talk to your instructors, talk to the people who are teaching you around you to come up with different challenges to help you. And also we're thinking about this Saturday, putting some barber chairs outside and cutting hair in front of the school. So and I've thought about that for years, you know what I mean? But it's just having people participate and bring it up. And because some people will be afraid if somebody's gonna see me, somebody's gonna watch me.
Right.
Hey man, so what?
yeah, no doubt.
That's fun. I mean, because I remember when it was my time, when I was learning, I didn't have those opportunities.
You just sit around and talk.
It wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't no fades and flows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fades and flows, I think the people in the community come out and so happy. Well, like you said, it's a museum. Realistically, they come out there and want to check. And the people who come, they don't know what kind of haircut you're doing. They don't care. Just the artwork of being so close in proximity with a barber
Yeah.
who is taking his time and putting in that effort, putting in that work. And it's fun. It's fun for them because you don't get to walk up to a barber and nobody don't know if you're using one guard or two guard, if it's a fade. It's just they're just amazed
Yeah.
and just happy.
Just appreciate just the art and the respect of the profession that comes with the craft is enough for some people just to be there.
Yes.
I mean, I think to like sum up what we're saying too, with all this, the biggest, I think this is probably one of the more important podcasts you've done just because of the fact that the number one thing I hear people say, and even before I went to barber school, and you might even be able to relate to this, am I, Craig, too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, my barber school didn't prepare me, man. They didn't do nothing, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And listen, every place of business is going to have its faults.
Yep.
But a lot of good things as well, but fill in the gaps, fill in that idle time with all these things that we've talked about.
Mhm.
Your experience is what you make it.
So I wrote this thing down. I'm gonna break it down into 4 quarters, and then I'll ask you guys for feedback and tell me where people should be in the first quarter. Because say barber school, Cosmos High School is 15 months, typically a year. Nail techs, nail techs, esthetician, makeup, whatever. It's typically about 7 months. So you could break each one of those down in quarters. So in the first quarter of school, where is a student?
Confused.
I think
Soul
it's
searching.
anywhere between getting confident speaking to people. I think that's a big thing. The first thing that I see people break, like being able to walk up to a client and say, hey, whether or not you're gonna give them the best haircut or not, being able to come up to somebody and say, hey, I'll cut your hair. Just in the first quarter, being able to do that,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
is important.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I really like that. And I think that just from a checklist standpoint, I think you should be able to identify all the guards,
Mm-hmm.
how they feed into each other, and being able to identify on someone's head what tool or what was used in that area of the head.
That's important.
If
That
you
is
can look
important.
at it, yeah, if you can look at it and say, okay, well, he ran a 3 to that area. He did this with his shears right here.
Yeah, I agree.
He tapered out that with a half closed. I think being able to identify all those things, because if you can't identify them, then you're not ready to execute them.
Right.
So
Because it's funny because I had Ryan in the corner like, Greg, using a one closed, and
Yeah,
and students will be
exactly.
like, "Damn, how you know that?" It's like because over time of just repetition.
yeah, and I wasn't scared to ask. I
Right.
think that's part of the battle because I
Uh,
was wrong a lot. I remember early on, I'd be like, "That's a 2," and he's like, "Dude, that's a half." Oh,
I did that one
okay.
time with a teacher. And he said, "When you're right, you're right, and when you're wrong,
I mean,
you're wrong."
but the more you do research, you will be able to get on point
Oh,
and
yeah.
just see it.
Mhm.
You'll be able to get on point and see certain parts of the head, like the parietal ridge, the temporal bone, the nape, the occipital bone. You'll see it's only about 1 or 2 guards can go there. And when you look at the length of the hair, you'll be like to identify it right away.
And that's another reason why I made that lookbook for beginner students, because you can use that now as a tool long after I'm gone
Yep.
of saying, okay, and flip, here's page 17. That top haircut there on the left, what do you see on the sideburn? And that quiz them. You can go through it, and the more haircuts you look at, whether you're looking at them on Instagram, whether you're looking at them on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, the more you see them, the more you're going to be able to recognize it.
In the first quarter, you can't say, I'm not learning.
You should be bombarded by stuff. You should be overwhelmed by
Yeah.
learning.
I mean,
there's a plethora of knowledge.
it's a process. It takes time.
Mhm.
The first quarter, you can't be like, man, oh man, this. Of course, like you said, you're confused. The second quarter, what do you see? You starting to get some concepts, starting to understand a little bit.
Chris could probably answer that better. That's about where you're at right now, right?
It's the second and a
I
half,
think- I
going
think
to
he-
third.
I think Chris on quarter 3,
I
looking at his Instagram.
appreciate
Shoot,
that,
quarter
man.
4,
I'm,
maybe.
I'm really trying.
Fourth quarter.
I'm loving what I'm doing, so I think that's what's so exciting. But as a quarter 2 individual, for me,
You feel like you know what you're doing, then you get it. Then you get a punch in the gut.
right? Oh, it's a repeated cycle. It's a spin wash when it comes to finding out things I'm not prepared to do.
But like
Right.
you said, though, you're confident that if anything walks at quarter 2, anything that walks
No,
the
that's
door,
quarter 3.
3.
That's quarter 3.
Excuse me. Well, whatever he feels like, whatever walks the door, you're ready, right?
That's
what you
quarter
said?
I'm
3.
at least confident enough to greet, do the best consultation you can do.
Because most people, they think like, I got it. And then you have that bad haircut. You have that client who just,
I
who
still
just
do
like-
that.
and then
But that's good though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still do that. I'm
and
like,
the client's like just disappointed. You're like, I thought I gave the best
It's-
haircut ever.
you
Like,
can definitely tell, and that's basically how I grade each cut. You know, how happy did that make them? I think I delivered what they wanted in the best fashion that I could, and that's quarter 2 to me.
Right.
You know, now I'm able to identify lengths, at least within a half or within a guard, and also that person's happy. And when people aren't happy, you're like, man, I
But-
needed to do better. Next time I will. I often read people and they might not be as excited about the haircut as I was. And when that happens, it's easy to say, next time we'll do it better. Or next time it'll move more smoothly. And
oh, we got a guest.
people come back.
We got a
Hello,
guest that
hello.
just dropped in.
What's up? How are you?
We got my man Juan from Puerto Rico.
but sometimes with that though, you just got to be confident, because I got guys, I cut their hair every 2 weeks
If
for
you're
6
unconfident,
months.
they feel that.
Exactly. But I'll hand them the mirror and they'd be like, how's it look? And they'd be like, sorry. And then I see them on Instagram later, like,
You're gonna have those clients.
Yeah.
You're gonna have those clients who just you cannot
It's
satisfy.
never
Yeah.
good enough.
But in quarter 2, we're talking about maximizing your time in school, and that's what we broke it down in 4 quarters. One, and like the first quarter, you just confused in on what was going on, and just lost.
Trying to figure out, where I stand, and like
What's
I
what?
cut a
who's
little
who?
bit before. Yeah, I cut a little bit before I went to school, but nothing like that.
Right.
So when I got there, I tried to pay attention to who cut the most and try to pick some things off of them and everything, and try to
You
get
kind of
like-
latch on to people that you're like, they got
Yeah.
it.
That's why you got to
ask
give back as a
questions.
senior
Yeah,
student.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So luckily, we had a few people that cut pretty good in school.
Sure.
So I felt like I was pretty lucky. And I was trying to figure out my way around, who to talk to the most, and just kind of like who was kind of like on that same kind of path I was, just trying to hurry up and get it over with and get out of school and get to work
Keep your head
instead.
down and keep it going. I
Yeah.
feel like there's something to learn though from everybody, not just who's given the most presentable haircuts. It's like,
Mm.
how does person A do this versus person B? What's more efficient for me? Can I use this skill to be better, or does this work or not?
That's number one. Don't put pressure on yourself. Do not put pressure on yourself. So we're talking about the first and second quarter. So when do you think, Ryan, in what quarter you start recognizing being uncomfortable?
I think it's quarter three. I think it's quarter three. Because I feel like quarter three is almost like the sink or swim of whether you're going to really do it or not. In my opinion, because
You're committed at that point.
yeah, you're
You're in
in.
it. You're in it.
You're in, and if you're at that point and you're still, you know, at least able to make your way through a haircut and ask good questions at the end and take constructive criticism and those type of things and be able to listen to the feedback from your peers or your instructors, then you're well on your way.
And then you're still gonna have a time in quarter three where you're gonna be like, oh man, what am I doing?
Yeah, I remember I'm in quarter four now, I guess, but there was still a random haircut or two, even in quarter three for sure, that tripped me up a little bit. Like it didn't walk out of there looking awful, but it definitely was not like anything I was proud of.
I'm in triple overtime, and there's still times where, you know what I'm saying? There's still times where people come in and I'm like, yo, I'm about to tear it up. And then you get into that texture or hair or whatever, or something that you're not used to. And then you weren't quite happy with it. But, you still try to give the best customer service you can every time.
So give yourself at least 3/4 of the way through school before you can say, I'm not picking nothing up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not learning. If you in the first month, first 8 weeks, first 10 weeks, and you're like, I'm not picking, it takes time because this is an acquired skill. This is something that's you have to learn. It's a learned skill. You're not going to pick it up overnight.
And there's like a couple aha moments, I think, for every barber. There's a haircut or two that I can think back and go, that's where it clicked.
You're right. It just happens. Like it just out of nowhere happens.
And yeah.
And what month were you really comfortable on? About the third quarter month, 7, 8, when you was like, I got this.
Kind of like early third, a little bit.
So that's about 7, 8 months.
Yeah, and it was just a client that he was actually a barber, or he cut hair, and he just said, "Don't be afraid to go up." And ever since then, it's like you get a better blend when you just go up a little bit more.
Right.
So yeah, once he gave me that advice, yeah, that's when it started clicking. I was like, okay.
And then we going into quarter four. Only person you've been to quarter four. Ryan's been to quarter four. You've been to quarter four. Chris, you getting ready to go there. You shouldn't take your foot off the gas, because what a lot of students do is they feel that they're good, and they're like, I don't want to take no more haircuts.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to sit in the class. I don't want to learn. Talk about that one. Why is it important to just kind of go through it? That quote from Jay-Z, make your first like your last, make your last like your first, and make that your everything.
2 for 2.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I wanted as many cuts as I could get. Like, because, I mean, it was something I enjoyed doing. So if you get to a point where like, oh, I don't need to take any more cuts, you can always learn something.
Right.
So when you think you can't learn anything, that's when I don't think your cuts really come out as good, because you think you know everything. So you don't need to get better and better. There's always something to pick off from somebody else. And I'm still learning.
And I understand the rush to get out of school and move on, but maximize those 4 quarters. Maximize every time while you're in there. Try to learn, because that's the innocent time again. You're never going to have that time where you have so much time where you think you don't have time to do things. Because when it starts, like you're working right now, and mine's working, it just constant.
Yeah.
All those time when you think you have time to learn and then take advantage, if you didn't take advantage of the community days to learn how to do a design or do something, you can't go out there in the work field and
yeah, it's a lot different when you're in the field and in school, because in school you got an excuse like, oh, I'm still in school. So yeah, out in the field they're like, man, and then they get your name out there like, nah, don't go to that.
My dad, he went to art school. He went to UVA art school in Charlottesville, and he was telling me, he told me the story himself. He said he did a painting, and he'd look around everybody else's work, and he was like, man, they're really good. Like, look at my work. I could do better. Like, what's wrong with me? And he said the instructor came up to him and he's like, what's wrong, Mr. Fields? And he said, man, it's like all these people's artwork is so good and mine's just like whatever. He said, and the instructor said, when you get to the place to where you think that that's all you can do, that's the best you can be, that you're done. That's it. You can't get better. That's it. There's only one place you can go, and that's down. So as long as you're always seeking knowledge and growing,
and that's important. And that's important. And I think we can go on this topic forever, but as we go, it seems like we've been there for like how long? About 10, 15
10
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, it's fast.
But it's an hour. It's an hour. And we're gonna go around and get everybody lasting words. And Juan, appreciate you coming on, man. I know
Yeah.
you got caught in traffic, and I know you was trying to get down there because this is important for you too, Juan. I know you love coming to podcast. We're gonna get you on again. But yeah, man, there's traffic on the highway in Kingsport. It was going the
There's
other way.
always an accident on 20. No, it was well, the semi flipped over on the other side,
Uh-huh.
but they had one lane open on coming this way. I guess because the rocks kind of went over too and everything. So yeah, they had my lane was closed on this one. They just had one lane open, but it's always an accident on 26.
Make you think like you're in Atlanta somewhere, 85.
I wish I was in Atlanta. I would have got here quicker. As soon as I get home, my foot's on the gas. I'm gone.
But as we close on, what are your last words, Chris? To tell someone
think
out there,
this is really,
maximize your time to take advantage of school, take advantage of the opportunity that you have, take advantage of the wherever you are in whatever field you're in. If it is art school, if you're trying to be a plumber, if you're trying to be just
I mean, for me, it's just a big game of momentum. I talked about it earlier. I'll reiterate, it's just momentum for me. Keep going. I mean, I know the pressure is going to be put on myself by myself, but it's important to just kind of remember where you're at, especially in school, and to maximize that time. I mean, it's
no pressure.
there is. I mean, there's a little pressure, but I mean, it's
The only pressure students do is when they start comparing themselves to other students.
correct, right?
Your own
And-
standard.
And don't do that. Please don't do that. Because again, if you're in there for a month and the student has been there for 8 months, that's not even fair to him to want to be just as good as him. And another thing is students going out there in the industry and going to a shop, going to a salon, and comparing yourself to that barber. He's been doing it for 8,
Yep.
maybe 3, 4 years. And you want to be just like him, and you're not putting in the work just like him. That's not fair to him.
It's easy to compare, but it's important just to stay grounded, stay humble,
I
and
understand
know who you are.
you will get
How do
there.
you work? I appreciated being on the show for sure.
Yep. Chris, we appreciate you. Everybody's
it's
been on
been a
there.
pleasure.
They have to come back.
Thank you.
You got to come
Oh, I'll
back.
be back. Send the invitation.
Were you a little
I'll be back.
nervous any type of anxiety coming
Oh,
on?
absolutely.
What was you nervous
He
about?
was Ryan was preparing all week. I was just trying to keep it together. But I'm here now.
How you
It
do
went-
anything is how you
Oh,
do everything,
man,
baby.
he's-
I already knew what time it was.
Yes, sir.
I said, I already knew
He's
what
he's,
time
he's
it
got a
was.
spreadsheet, and I'm over here just trying to keep it down, So But
My
I
mind
appreciate
just
it.
goes, man. It just goes all week, all the time. And so when I have a thought or a creative idea or something I think could help somebody, I put it in my phone. And I just have a huge running list.
Oh, man.
I told Craig I was going to print it out at the end of barber school. It's about 15 pages of Word document, probably.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, idle time is the enemy. You just take these gems that you've got, and you've heard a lot of good ones today, I think, from these other guys. And I think that, you've got to do something to separate yourself, and you've got to do something that somebody else isn't willing to do, to be where you want to be. We talked about escaping your competition by being authentic. And I mean, the last thing I wrote on my phone here, I put, if you aren't 100% into it, somebody else who is 100% into it will outperform you by a lot. So,
For sure.
and that's just the foundation, really. If you don't have that, then
Juan, what do you think? Some of the lasting words you want to say to the students? I know you came on last, but what can you say to the students for them to maximize their time while they're in school?
I say learn everything, like women's long hair, ball fades, one guard phase. For some reason, that's what I'm having issues with. I'm just trying to figure out how low they really want to go and all that stuff. But learn that. I mean, you'd be surprised the different cuts that come in. She's about 60-year-old lady came in, wanted her hair cut like she was at a salon or something. And I mean, I gave her the cut because I sat there in school and we went over all the long hair and everything, 90 degree, 180 degree, all that stuff. But I'm saying, like, yeah, definitely maximize your time. If there's events, go to those. If you got people that own a barbershop that's inviting you to come and talk to them, do that. Go kick it with a couple of barbers. Just kind of see how day goes too. So sometimes everybody thinks you got cuts around the clock. But a lot of times it's not like that. So go to shops and just really see downtime. What are you doing? Chilling, trying to get people in. Learn how to get people to come to your shop too. Like go out, pass your cards, even make T-shirts. Go to a restaurant, hang out. People come up to you and ask you like, "Where you get that shirt from? What's that?" Like just certain ways, a lot of different things.
One question I want to ask you: what was the importance of participating in like activities like fades and flows, and each one teach one?
That was very important to me because basically how that helped me was with timing too. Because a lot of those competitions were timing. The Emoja Festival, it was time. I didn't think I could like that was probably about the beginning when I started school and I
Mhm.
went into that competition and I mean I got second. It was pretty good and I didn't think I was even gonna get any kind of place in that thing. But that taught me how to work with time and get my phase down pretty good. And also communicating with your community. Like being a part of your community is a huge deal because people respect that. They gonna want to come see you. They can come. They gonna think like you just like the best person in the world if you still involved in your community. So that's why I think activities is a big part. Like the back to school things and everything. Like let them know that you love your community. You want to reach out to them, and they'll definitely back you up and they'll come to you.
Did you get to do each one teach one?
I did when I was in school.
So how did that help you? What did that do for you?
That taught me how to talk to people. Like, cause like I'm quiet, so I don't really talk to a lot of people. But that really taught me how to just be calm and talk to people. Taught me how to keep a conversation going. So yeah, the each one teach one help me out, but also you get to teach people certain things about you too. But yeah, it just taught me how to like really open up and talk to people and keep conversations going. Because I really don't talk to a lot of people like that. But ever since then, I've kind of gotten into school. I talk to people a lot more. People used to think I was stuck up, but not, like I'm really I'm laid back. A lot of people never heard me yell before, but there's different things people are starting to figure out about me because I'm getting more open. So
Right, Vaughn, you be yelling.
I was thinking that too. Like, what are you yelling at?
when I'm coaching,
Oh, okay.
like yeah, I coached my football team and basketball, and I had parents saying I never heard one before. I was like, if I get in that mood and I see somebody just player being treated unfair, like yeah, you're gonna hear me get
People
loud.
don't realize Vaughn is a really great basketball player. You look at him and be like, Vaughn is he's a great basketball player too. Emma, what's your lasting words? This was a great podcast, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's just
first of all, I would say to all you, everybody's listening to different countries. Ryan isn't a human being. I mean, I knew that the first time I met him. So hopefully you can meet that standard.
I'm just the guy.
You can meet that this dude is not from this earth. But also, if you got time to play Dazzle on your phone or Tetris, watch a YouTube video. Do a do a practical. If you're sitting there and you realize that you are just mindlessly scrolling, which a lot of us do, man, do something. Watch a YouTube video, change your habits.
ask a question.
Ask a question.
Talk
Ask
to a
Craig how to
student.
rake. How do you rake?
Or mow a lawn. You still ain't mow yet, have you?
No. Oh man. I mean, I guess I get mines in raking. Yeah, that's what I get to do. Yeah, but
Craig rakes his shears, he rakes his trimmers, he rakes the comb.
I do, man. But again, we changed the podcast to Earn the Crown podcast featuring Barber College Success because all we do around here is trying to earn the crown. And again, maximize your time. Ask questions. Talk to the instructors. Come up with ideas. Come up with suggestions for your school while you're in the school. Take pride in where you are. School can be fun, and it's what you make out of it. The energy you put in, it's what energy you're gonna get out. Again, Barber College Success brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cuts Academy JC, Crown Cuts Academy Bristol, and Craig's Crown Cuts Downtown JC. And again, spread the love the JC ways. The only way we know how to do it is the Crown Cuts way. Lathan on the ones and twos.